So, last time, all of you went down into the lab of Quinn after having found out quite a bit of different information about La Habrea and Garlemald and the towers. Um, you went down into the laboratory where Quinn was with who he thought was the Elder Seedseer, when in fact it turns out it was La Habrea in disguise. At first, you weren't really sure where Quinn had went, and though the battle was rather fierce and a five-way boss battle ensued, you did ultimately manage to come out the victor, as well as sealing La Habrea inside of a crystal. Unsure of exactly how long that crystal is going to last, you tucked it away for safekeeping before later giving it over to the Warrior of Light for hopefully permanent disposal. Finding Quinn inside of the large royal library of Alnalder, you managed to bring him back safely, as well as found Shuiai, who Quinn had locked away, for presumably for her own safety, and managed to sort of take a bit of rest afterwards. In that time, you also, two of your three Viera heard these strange murmuring and whispers that were coming from the forest, although Rakshana heard nothing from the forest. It also, there was this strange happenstance where the forest itself was bending in the opposite direction that the wind was blowing, making it seem to almost go against the wind, almost as if defying the laws of physics itself and refusing to bend to their will, if you will. Having this information and knowing that the Chocobo Eaters were still on the loose, the next morning you all decided that you were going to go into the forest to hunt them down and take care of them once and for all. Going to Quinn, you also learned that Moon and Merrick were missing, and taking it as a sign that they were likely in the forest as they had not returned, you all set about with great haste towards the forest. And as you approach the forest and sort of come within mere, just a couple dozen feet, within that blue box, you may place yourself wherever it is that you wish to be for the start of this.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's very silent, but I will get music in here in a moment. Don't worry. So,
Game just needs to land one solid breath weapon against us.
yes. It's called the smoke breath weapon. You all have to make a con save, and if you fail, you all get extremely happy.
We all get extremely high.
Yes.
I mean,
is there a difference?
Blaze, bro.
yes, there is. I can confirm.
So,
High is better.
As you all approach, I would like for Kryn, Rakshana, and Aidwin to give me perception checks. Delgar and Astaria, your passive perception passes automatically, so you two do.
Visual?
It is a visual. Well, technically it's both. Kind of visual and auditory.
Yeah. Oh, I don't see fucking anything.
Oh boy, no, you do not.
Sorry about that. I was drawing our card.
No, you're fine. You
No problem.
You don't actually have to roll.
So a passive perception of 20 doesn't auto pass, huh?
Oh, yours is 20. I thought yours was 17. I'm sorry. You auto pass. Sorry. The DC is the DC
Mine
is 20.
Is 21 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you don't have to roll.
All right. So, Aidwin and Kryn, both of you actually missed this. Surprising for you, Kryn. Um, but the other four, as you're approaching, you hear what sounds rapid like rapid movement, like something moving at very high speeds running towards you from in the forest.
What's that?
What's what?
You don't hear that thing running, she says as she's getting
No.
out her shield and her gun blade.
I do.
No.
Let's get off the road and just not, because it may be the chocobos coming back.
True.
We should each get to the side, specifically.
Go over here.
All right. So as you all sort of split off away from the road and just kind of give it a moment, about 20 or so seconds later, Kren, you begin to hear the footsteps as well, or the rapid movement. And as it's getting closer, you the original four, the ones that have the 20, you begin to hear it more distinctly. You can begin making out more nuances about it. And Doug, you're actually the first one to make it out. It sounds like two creatures, bipedal in nature, maybe chocobos, and it sounds like they're running very fast. You're not sure if it's them running away from something or towards something, but they're running very, very fast.
I'll point this out to everyone else.
Lower your weapons in case. But we're gonna let them through.
Yeah, her gun blade is down held off to her side.
All right. At this point, as you get all sort of begin to relax a little bit, Doug, you're the first one to see him because of your past perception, but the rest of you see him shortly after. A red and blue chocobo running out of the forest, and it is in fact Moon and Merrick.
Aw.
Aw, look at the babies.
And as you have sort of that that moment of relief, you look at Moon and you can see on her left side there's like this just rather large splotch of red that's just kind of pulled there. And as Merrick gets closer, you see a couple on him of these just slightly darker. Sorry. These like slightly darker shades of red across her body. And as they stop in front of you, they both sort of look at each other and sort of look back and begin to like puff up their chests and trying to essentially put you behind them and kind of try to hide you guys behind them.
Oh.
And they're like looking towards the forest.
Is it me or are they trying to
Hide us? Yes.
Protect us.
I mean, I guess Star's gonna kind of like try to peek around them and see what they're worried about. She will have her globe ready.
I could make a perception check.
My sheet will stop acting like a garbage can.
Just
Never.
it always works.
I'm not sure that's how that works.
Sometimes.
Well, maybe the web is listening in on us.
Trying to look past. Unfortunately, Merrick's very big, and now Merrick's trying to make herself look even bigger. So it's kind of hard to really look past.
I'm gonna medicine them then to make sure they're not extremely hurt. I can only see Merrick's health, by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead and make a medicine check. Yeah. Looking at them, they both seem injured. Moon less so. Merrick seems the most heavily injured, and he's not. Actually, forgot to reduce both of their health.
Yeah.
Um,
She.
she
They
doesn't
are-
seem in any necessarily immediate life-threatening danger from her wounds, but they do seem to be piling up.
Mhm.
But as you
They've been in a bad fight.
Did you remember to start your recording?
Yeah, I did. But does anyone else want to try and look past them or move around them?
Sure.
Yeah, I want to look past them.
I will try to move around them.
All right, Adwin, go ahead and give me yours as well.
Yeah. Sorry.
You don't have to if you don't want to try and look. It's up to you.
No, I do want to look. I'm just being stupid. I thought I had my sheet opened already, but I forgot I don't have it out as a separate thing right now.
Raggy. All right. As you both sort of look past Moon, Moon is thankfully significantly smaller, by comparison, anyways, than Merrick. And so looking past her is a little bit easier. And as you do, neither of you see anything as far as like a creature or anything like that. However, Delger, you notice that the very tops of the trees are, most of them are just kind of still, but there are a couple towards the edges that every now and then you'll see them like starting to shift slightly, like something's moving around in them.
I will point that out to everyone. I think I see where it roughly is. May not be able to, maybe it's not able to come out of the forest.
Should we move in?
Some of us at least. Yes.
I wonder if they're going to be okay if we move in.
They want to
The
protect
chocobo,
us.
I mean.
Yeah.
Delger is going to sort of pat Merrick and just say, hey, it's okay. It's our turn to take care of these things. And I'm going to try animal handling, perhaps, just to convey that.
Okay, go for it.
I'm also gonna
21.
cure your wounds, Merrick.
All right. So, as you just reach up and gently pat Merrick, it's very strange. Though you did cure Merrick of whatever it was that was afflicting her before, that didn't necessarily change her attitude or anything. However, as you're sort of just gently placing your hand on her feathers, there's just like you can innately feel there's been this shift in her demeanor. She's less aggressive than she seemed to be than she seemed to be, and it doesn't seem it doesn't necessarily seem like it was whatever you cured. It doesn't seem like that was that didn't cause the shift. It seems like it was something else. Maybe all this fighting that she's been doing, perhaps. But there's definitely this shift because as you just like gently pet her and just kind of and all of you begin to move past them. Neither of them attempt to stop you, though you can tell that they don't want you to go in.
Yeah. Alright. Oh yeah, I did fortunate healing to make that 8 more.
Okay. Those you mean 12 more? All right.
No. It's the 8 plus 12.
Yeah. Gotcha.
You confused me.
That's my job.
So, just for my sake, I'd like for everyone to go ahead and roll their initiatives because I want to. There's certain things that are about to happen. So I need y'all to do the thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Where's
There
my-
we go. Now my sheets are opening properly.
Let's see. There's that one and that one. Okay.
For when the fight probably starts, who should control the birds, or just send them away?
Well,
I'd
currently,
say just send them away.
I was gonna say currently
Okay.
Merrick's.
They are already birds. They can fight. These two
That's
of
true.
all the birds we've ever had are able to fight.
That's true.
True. I just wanted to make sure that was what was wanted.
Here, come on.
And so you know, Star. Merrick currently does not have access to his Choco Meteor. It has been used.
Okay. Yeah.
Which just means that it now has to recharge. So at the start of each of his turns, you would roll a d6, and on a 5 or a 6, he gets it back.
Do I need to give her a girlier star name for you?
No. You're fine. I'm just confused. That's all.
She's named after the star that you can find by following a certain trajectory of the moon.
Who else are we with?
Which is a really good.
Star.
It's cute as fuck.
Well, it also works because now she's fucking literally with
Yeah.
a bird called Moon.
Yeah.
Star.
This is why Star's flock is all constellational.
Oh, you didn't. I see. Star did roll her initiative, but she didn't have her token clicked.
I did click it. I'm having some
Roll 20 said
roll 20 issues.
others.
Yeah.
Roll 20 said that it wants to be a bitch.
Roll 20 flattens all the textures on my sheet when I open it up, and then for half a second, I can't touch anything.
Duggar, what's your dexterity score?
20.
Okay. Just wondering. That's all.
Also, Roxy stepped away.
Yeah, I know. That's why we've got to wait a moment. Because I need Roxana to roll. So I'm going to pause the recording. Oh my fucking god. I didn't unpause the recording.
What?
I didn't unpause the recording.
How long?
I
Said
paused it
very
when Roxana went away.
I don't know what I say.
I forgot to unpause it.
So
Oh,
much
damn.
The entire battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, the entire battle.
Oh no.
Oh,
Oh my god, I'm such an idiot. I'm so sorry.
You were even asked if you were recording.
Well, that was before the break.
True.
So. Oh my.
well, at least he saves that. At least that saves anyone seeing my mistake.
Yeah, absolutely nothing
Yeah.
happened. They won the battle handedly, and we're now in the forest
The
investigating
birds share damage because they're fucking adorable.
The power of the rewarding bond.
that.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, well now it is
Hey,
unpaused.
My 3 crits in a row.
Yes, you did get 3 crits in a row, and that was pretty fucking insane. Roxana also, I mean, you all kind of worked together to obliterate them and their health, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Not really obliterate, you handled them pretty effectively though. However, we're just gonna move on past my mistake, and yeah, we're gonna move on past my mistake. So, after having investigated these nuts and sort of ascertained that many creatures seem to be eating them, the soft, fleshy interior versus their hard outer shell, these do not seem to resemble any kind Kupo nut for chocobos that you've seen or handled before in the past star. Additionally, without really knowing the actual, like, what is supposed to be in these, it's kind of hard to tell what their purpose is or
Should we crack one open that's not already ripped up?
You know, I was almost about to run up and go eat one. So yes, I'll go grab.
Its outer shell is hard.
And once it's out of its shell.
Just as a note, Oda does, because this is something that you were told before, the nuts are like all the way up at the top of the canopy. So you would have to climb up the trees in order to get to them.
And how tall are these trees?
The trees themselves are probably, you guesstimate, about 100, maybe more feet tall. You do know that towards the center they seem, or the further in, air quotes, you got, the last time the trees seem to get taller and taller. So you're not entirely sure how tall these are. The canopy, no matter where you are really in this forest, the canopy itself seems to just kind of disappear into the darkness above. So.
All right, I will spend a key point, and I will dash up the trees and grab an armful, grab this number of these nuts, and I will run up using my my improved on our movement that lets me just run up vertical surfaces, and then just slow fall back down.
Yeah, soon, MJ, because I also have to pee. So we will be doing a bathroom break soon.
Okay.
So you run up there, grab a couple, and slide down the tree. These three, same sort of texture on the outside, this very hard outer shell. Dogger?
Sorry, I didn't hear. My audio cut out a bit. What was that?
I was just saying that you have a couple nuts now. So.
Okay. I will sort of toss. All right. I'll offer one a star. Then I will toss another one up and just sort of break it up with my staff and try to eat it.
All right. Go ahead and make an attack roll for me. With your staff.
Oh.
Jeez.
I might need to try another one.
Jeez. Y'all have rolled so many natural 20s.
Oh, like, to be fair, the crit wasn't there, but that was the first one, and advantage wasn't there.
Yeah. I mean, I have all the rolls taken out of the video for hiding my GM rolls. But you hand one over to Star, and as you take the next one and toss it up and crack it, you actually pretty easily bludgeon this thing in half and cause it to kind of split open. And as it does, you watch as this like very thick, viscous, purple goop just kind of like splatters out onto the ground.
I will sort of take one of the halves. If there's any goo left, I will try to drink some of the goo.
Alright.
You're going to eat that?
Taking one of them and swigging it back. Go ahead and make a Constitution save for me.
Oh my god, I didn't eat it.
An 18. It's very thick and very difficult to drink. And you realize this pretty early on, and so you abandon the idea of drinking it for a more apt approach of eating it. Which seems to help out a little bit. It's still kind of tough, and it's still a little difficult to... it's kind of tough to chew, and it's still a little difficult to swallow. But you do manage to get it down, and it's not the greatest tasting thing in the world, but surprisingly, it's rather refreshing. And you effectively gain the benefits of having a full day's meal.
Ooh,
These are honestly really good.
I'll take your word for it.
Star's just gonna plop that into her bag of holding.
Okay. You want any more?
Oh, maybe a few. Maybe we should make some room in that other satchel that keeps food fresh.
Good call. I will go ahead and plop those. Well, that's probably back with the cart, but
Bag of holding
What?
for now, and we'll put them in later.
Yep. Yep,
Alright,
but agreed.
How many are you getting grab?
Let's say 4. 4 more, aside from the ones we already used.
Alrighty. So 5 in total. That's how many you have. 5
I already gave Star 1, so 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that I was already including that one. So.
Okay.
Okay, then grab 5 while you're up there, and then it'll be 6.
All right. So you have 6 now. So you can. I haven't even named these things yet because I don't know what to call them.
I'm
you
not
can
gonna lie.
you can call them
They
a
really
eggplant
sound
nut.
like you're describing a
Call
coconut.
me by your name.
I
But
know you're not, but honey, it sounds like a Koopo nut.
I know that's intentional.
It's
You
creepy.
can write them down as eggplant nut.
Ew.
We have 6 of them. They weigh 2 pounds each.
Sure.
Ew. Now I will never eat one. I'm sorry. I just...
And before they
No.
just cook it
Plant,
into
that
your-
is an
Honey.
egg.
You're not your character. You don't have to taste it. It's fine.
But as you gather these nuts and begin to move forward once again, Star and Kryn, give me perception checks, as well as 2 general perception checks from 2 people in the party.
I'll take one.
Forgot to turn off advantage.
Hold on, my sheet's trying to murder me.
That's fine. So Dogger's taking one of the general perception checks. Remember, the general ones you have advantage on because everyone is considered to be helping you.
Yeah.
So, and then we can get one more general perception check as well.
Ooh.
Alright.
Well, I'm glad Delger is better at this than Rox, but...
Yes. Alright. So as you begin to proceed forward once more, oh, I need someone to give me a D100, please.
Okay.
75. Alright. As you proceed forward, we're going to take a break. Because
Woo!
I have to pee. I'm
I
going to
gotta pee
leave
too.
OBS. I'm going to pause. I am going to pause the recording. However, alright. So I've unpaused the recording just to make sure.
Good.
Alright. So, as you continue on the next leg of your journey, sort of keeping an ear out for anything moving or shifting in the forest. Delger. The forest itself, though you do not hear any of this strange whispering or murmuring that Kryn and Star seem to be able to hear, but the way the leaves and the way the canopy is very subtly shifting. It's very faint and hard to hear, but you can hear it shifting, would imply some sort of wind or a breeze of some kind strong enough to shake a canopy that it seems, especially from you having gone up there, the canopy itself seems to be almost completely entwined with itself to allow no light or anything inside. So for it to be shifting, you would expect a pretty strong breeze that you would be able to feel even on the forest floor, even if it's subtle. But you don't feel a breeze. You don't feel anything that would indicate the ability to move the canopy like it is. In addition, both Kryn and Star, at the same time, you both begin to hear, and for you, Kryn, you've never stopped hearing it. It's just been this perpetual whispering and murmuring of, like, an innumerable amount of voices all speaking at once and all saying different things and trying to get your attention. And it's not necessarily distracting, so to say. It's very much like sort of white noise in the background. It seems almost almost like as if the wind was blowing past, like a gentle breeze almost. But you can hear that there are words. And Star,
Is there a direction it's coming?
no, it seems sourceless. And for you, Star, you pick up on it about halfway into the second leg of your journey. And you begin to also hear this, and as you do, you and Kryn sort of looking at each other and acknowledging that both of you can now hear this same noise, the same like white haze in the background. And it's not getting louder or more persistent or anything, but there's something about it. The longer you two spend in this forest, the more attention grabbing it feels. The more you find yourself trying to focus on it without even really realizing that you had been like trying to focus on it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's odd. Those trees are swaying so much, but I haven't felt a single breeze.
That's weird.
What?
Oh, the trees swaying. I don't feel a single breeze, no matter how much they're getting tossed around.
Oh, Star will rub the back of her head like she was obviously not paying attention.
Yeah, it's fine.
You continue on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's something like stopping us for some reason.
I mean, you could try and do whatever.
I think Star's gonna have her rope close down and bring it all back just to her hearing.
Okay.
And try to do what she did before when they were in there. Try to focus her energy into the forest to heighten the sound. So if what they're hearing is here, maybe she can make it louder.
Okay. I'll say go ahead and make a perception check with advantage. And then you are also going to add 10 to the result. So 26. As you begin to focus and all of the eyes on the robe close all at once, and you begin to just extend out your hearing and trying to focus on what is going on, the words begin to make sense. There's less congestion and more focus to the words. There's still the same amount of voices, but they're starting to speak in unison. They're starting to say the same thing. And at first it's still a little difficult to hear, but eventually it all comes together. And rather than a multitude of voices, you instead hear one soft female voice, but not one you recognize. And it says, "Come home to us, to where you belong." And as you hear those words repeat softly over and over, you begin to actually get a direction from where they're coming. And you can actually, as you focus on it, you can feel where the words are trying to lead you. You don't feel pulled towards it necessarily, but you do know where the voices seem to be coming from. As you, and I will say, you do know that it's specifically because you began to focus on the voices.
Mm-hmm. Star will just in a soft, kind of calm tone, she'll say this way. And she'll keep her ropes closed and continue to just trust in her hearing.
Okay. You all.
I'll
and walk.
Alright.
Aidwin shrugs and just follows.
So as all of you begin to follow Kryn, you do note that though you still cannot make out the words, they are getting more and more prominent and not louder, not forceful, but it's the longer you stay in this forest, it seems almost like the words are growing more desperate and trying to reach you and seeming to have a difficult time to. And you're not entirely sure why.
I'm going to use my just as a thing. I'm going to use this and restore a 5th level slot.
Alrighty, rare MP plus.
Okay.
Alright. And as you follow Star, whereas before you all seem to just kind of be wandering and hoping to find whatever it is that you need to find and feeling a little lost. At this point, in this moment, you do not feel lost. You know, you don't know how, you know, and you don't know where you're walking, but you know exactly where you're going. And you know for a fact that this path will lead you exactly where you need to go. And as you follow it, the voices eventually begin to fade from both you and Kryn. And as the trees part, you look upon what could only be described as a wonder of nature. These large trees in this extremely large circular, almost grove-like area that have what look to be like effectively wooden stairs that spiral around them. These large, almost bulging out areas of these trees. Some of them where it effectively kind of looks like the tree is just supported by like several different branches, kind of like a bar cell, or like cell bars, kind of like that, but more spread out so like you can walk through it. Some of them appear to be what would effectively amount to like a house or a building of some kind. But amongst all these structures, the one thing that really strikes you the hardest is the fact that everything here does not look like it was built into the trees. It does not look like it was like the trees were here and then someone came and carved them away. It looks like the trees grew into these shapes themselves, as if it was natural and like intended by nature. And amongst all of these strange buildings amongst these trees, you can see what look like Viera walking around and chatting and talking. And as all of you look upon this, and Star, even you opening your eyes as the voices are no longer directing you and seeing all of this, Delgu, you're the first one to hear it, but it sounds like an arrow being knocked. And as you shift your attention over, that's when all of you hear several dozens of arrows being knocked all around you. But there, you cannot see anyone. Well, you can actually start with your true sight. They are all invisible. And you all hear a single voice come out from amongst the trees. State your business.
We were led here.
By who?
A voice. I know I sound crazy.
You watch Star, since you can see him. The one who apparently must have been speaking begins to shift, and as he does, you make out what looks like armor that is in the design of leaves. Or at least that's what it looked like at first from a distance, but as he jumps out of the tree and lands in front of the party, still invisible, you get a better look at it, and it's not that the armor is made to look like leaves. They are leaves.
That's so cool.
And you all now watch as he slowly begins to apparate and appear before you. And he looks amongst all of you. And his eyes lock on you, Kryn. And he says, "So the traitor returns."
Traitor? I've never been here.
He puts his hand up and you watch as he flicks two fingers. And all of you hear like this massive amount of rustling from the trees above you before about 20 or so Viera archers, all male, appear around you. And he says, "You sound different, but you look the exact same."
Well, I've never been here. I grew up in Olda.
How
and that's
recently was she here?
Sort of looks over to one of the ones that's next to him, who says something very softly before he turns back and says, "I see. It's very interesting. So you are her daughter, then?"
I don't even know who her is that you're referring to, so I can't guarantee any of that.
Arrest her. And you watch as about 10 of them begin to move towards Kryn.
Hey, wait, hold on.
Aidwin is gonna. Yeah, Aidwin's gonna cut in front, and I'm gonna activate my new spell I picked out. That'll piss you off.
Over at Willa now.
I know what spell it is. It will.
Ah, I see. Magic would, that would determine if you are telling the truth, indicates that you are being truthful. Okay, okay.
And my lowest number is a 15
Okay.
for any charisma checks. Aidwin's just gonna cut in front of like, whoa, hold on. We can talk about this. We don't need to do any arresting. I'm sure there's just some kind of misunderstanding. Is there some place that we can sit down and have a chat about this?
Here's the thing. I don't think you can now. I do not think you can fail this check. What's your persuasion bonus?
Plus
16.
18.
18? Yeah, you literally cannot fail.
So, do these look like Vina, or are they Rava?
If they recognize me, they're Vina.
Yeah, they're all Vina. So as you say that, he motions for them to halt for a moment, although they do not pull back, and he looks at you, Aidwin, and he says, "And who are you?"
I am just a simple girl that roams the country. We're all here because we saw some chocobo eaters in the forest. We don't want any trouble. If there's anything that Kryn or her presumed family did, I'm sure it's not on us.
I've never been to a Vina village in my entire life. I couldn't have done anything wrong.
Looks between your
Unless
party.
your village is keen to convict on association alone, but that doesn't seem just.
Looks between the party. Before motioning his hand, and you watch as all the other Vieira hesitantly begin to pull back before disappearing and once more going invisible and darting off into the forest.
Star will just make sure to pointedly watch one of them to let them know I do see
you.
Leaving just this one male Vieira.
How about we start over? My name's Astaria. What's yours?
Unimportant.
Important if we're gonna start off on the right foot.
Please? She's gonna give him a big winning smile.
What am I supposed to do with myself if you're gonna take over all charisma stuff, bud? Just
I'm
be
just
the
kinda
blind,
just trying to
quiet
help.
chick? Yeah.
You're still party leader.
He knows his eyes at you and says, and points to Star, Rakshana, and Kryn, and says, "You three, follow me. The rest of you wait here." And turns around and begins to walk into the village.
I'm gonna make a point to take off my glove. Just gonna let the hand show.
Alright.
I'll follow him, but I'm gonna take the safety strap off my holster and put my hand on the hilt and follow.
Star is going to follow, but turn back for just a second to tap her ear at Delger, motioning that she will be turning on her link shall stay quiet.
No, will just nod. He did look like, I will say, he did look like he was just letting them leave.
Alright.
I didn't have the chance to say it, but he's not making any attempt to stop anything.
Alright.
That way you can listen in.
Thank you. And what I was trying to say a bit ago, but I hadn't had a chance to jump in. Because I have the observer and can read lips, I can finally use this. Could I have listen in on that whispered conversation?
That's very true. You can read lips. I forgot about that.
Ooh.
Oh, you also
Admit
have...
I had-
Alright,
Yeah, how do
well,
you think I have such a
then
high
let me
passive
just put
perception?
it this way. Let me just put it this way. Those of you that can read lips would know that the other individual that spoke said that he said, I do not think that is her, but I think that might be her daughter. If so, perhaps she will do. That's what he said. But
Mother.
as you three follow him in, the other Vieira in the village immediately stop and kind of stare at you as you walk by. And for you, Rakshana, you would know this is more than likely because there is a male Vieira stopping in the village. For whatever reason, this is an exceedingly rare occurrence. And the fact that he has 3 unknown Vieira with him probably doesn't bode well. Is probably how they're interpreting it.
Star's just gonna like wave at a few of them kind of sheepishly.
They just
I
stare.
would-
Not friendly, huh?
Not friendly on the best of days. We're lucky this isn't a Rava village. We probably would have been shot on sight.
Oh, joy.
Yeah, Vina are a little more hospitable to outsiders, but that it isn't much. My mentor Nia was only really welcomed because, well, she didn't let me bleed out on the floor or get eaten by a croc.
See.
What type of buildings are there as we're going in? Is it just like Stick
They're
huts.
they're all. Are you meaning like for specific uses?
No, just type of
Or
construction,
okay. Well,
wood,
one thing you do
advanced
notice.
architecture.
So one thing you do notice is that all of the buildings are a part of the trees themselves. And now that you guys can get a closer look, you can essentially confirm that the Vieira did not create these buildings. These buildings were here when the trees grew. So the trees effectively were, I guess, sort of in a way designed to grow in this specific pattern. I'm not sure if maybe it was done through magic, but it does not look like the only way that they would have done it would have had to been through magic. There's no physical marks to the trees themselves that would indicate construction.
I was gonna say, wouldn't I have some idea?
Yeah, and this is pretty standard. This is exactly how your village was. Not the exact same layout, of course, but as far as the buildings were concerned, it was essentially it was a combination of magic and natural means. They used the magic to ensure the stability of some of these smaller supporting beams. To sort of ensure that they wouldn't break under the immense weight of the tree. And in those particular cases, they also had to use magic to shrink each individual one to ensure that it would be able to pass. You'd be able to walk through them. So there's definitely a lot of magic involved in it. But some of the shapes and some of the houses are created through natural means, whether it be different types of animals over exceedingly long periods of times or otherwise. But the construction, the way this village looks, is not foreign to you. It's a pretty standard Vieira thing.
Taps Rakshan on the shoulder. Probably not a working bathroom in the whole place.
Oh.
It's the woods. You can kind of just go dig a small hole and just watch out for poison ivy.
Not make this the topic we're talking about while being led through here.
I mean, if anybody was going to look at us weird, they're already doing it.
We're
They're
making
already
her-
looking at us weird.
I see it from every single angle.
But there's probably not even an electric light anywhere. I mean, no
Okay,
technology.
yes, we're in the woods. Welcome to camping.
It's really not all that bad once you get used to it. If I'm being honest, it was quite an adjustment to have indoor plumbing.
Yeah, but you didn't rush back home either.
Can you shut up?
You misunderstand my reason for that.
Star's going to pick up her pace to catch up with who's leading them because she doesn't want to be a part of this anymore.
I mean, Rox isn't walking slowly. She's just talking sideways at Kryn.
Yeah.
Yeah, Star's still picking up pace to get away from you guys.
And as you do, as you
Embarrassing.
catch back up, you find that he has actually come to a stop. And as you are pulled back by him to be behind him, and the other two catch up, you can see in front of you 3 female Vieira, 2 of them sort of sitting down on this almost patio-like structure, though the other one female standing sort of in the middle. The male Vieira immediately getting down to one knee and sort of bowing to her before saying, "My apologies, but we found these intruders headed towards the village, and as you can see," and as he says that, the female speaks up and says, "I can see her plainly. At least her mother's image, and her eyes are just locked onto you, Kryn. And she says,
Hey, I'm gonna do the move that my daughter does to me all the time. I'm rolling my eyes.
um, she says,
Delger, keep that dirty language out of the chat.
No! Heck you.
Heck you.
She says, "You may go. We will deal with her." And he stands back up and nods before turning, and as he leaves, very rudely and very harshly shoulder checking Kryn.
Hey.
Wow.
I want to pause him for a moment and give him a present.
Oh no!
I'm gonna
got
stick
you
it in his
something.
hands with his hands
It ain't
closed around
much.
it, and I say, "It's a present. It's just for you." And
make,
then pat him on the shoulder and
make a sleight of hand check first.
If we get attacked, I'm leaving you to die.
Can I tell what Kryn is doing? I know what Kryn is doing out of character. Yeah, I know. I know what Kryn is doing out of character.
You do see it. He does. He also sees it, however, and does not allow you to put it in his hand.
Kryn, knock it off. You're not helping your case. I have a feeling that your mother did something to get herself in trouble, which is why you've never been here. And now you're getting put on the hook for it. Please,
yeah, I know.
leave.
Indeed.
I'll try.
Yeah, well, don't give them a reason to put an arrow in your face.
If they want to put an arrow in your face, honey, it's happening. Sorry, I'm not helping you.
Oh, if we wanted to put an arrow in her face, it would have already happened.
That I'm well aware of, but you can still change your mind.
However, since you are so aptly curious, the reason that your mother is a traitor is because she stole something very precious to this village quite a while ago.
Oh dear goodness.
And unfortunately, we have not been able to locate her since she left the forest.
Dear goodness. Alright, what did she take?
An egg. A very special egg. One that would have ensured the safety of this village. But in her selfishness, in her greed, she stole it.
Oh.
Edwin's just gonna mouth egg to the party, to the rest of the people who are still at the entrance with her.
May I ask what kind of egg?
Yeah.
A chocobo egg.
A chocobo egg. Star will just slowly
Alright,
turn into her
give me a
friend.
color, because if it's valuable, I'm going to presume black, white, or
We
gold.
do not know what color it was going to be. When we found it in a grove, nestled amongst a bloodied nest. So we took it in and began to nurture it, attempting to get it to hatch. We were close. And then one day, while I was out with our hunting party, hunting the evil monstrosities that plagued this forest, she stole it and fled the village.
We
By the
killed a couple of
time
those.
I returned, she had already escaped the forest.
Let me ask you a few questions then. What would you do if you found this egg, or since it probably would have hatched by now, chocobo, if you found it now?
It would depend on what color it is.
She started staring at you like, what are you trying to get at?
let's ignore the color. What if it had its own free will? What would you do with it?
We would do as the forest demands.
What does the force demand of the colors?
Tilt her head towards you, and why not to ask her yourself? You have already heard her voice. She led you here.
See, I don't know how to do that. I'm sorry.
He looks to you, Kryn. I'm sure you probably could too. Your mother was quite skilled at manipulating the forest's voice.
That's great for Mom. I didn't see a tree until these people brought me out of the city.
I didn't realize you hadn't seen a tree until we dragged you out of there. That's sad.
I've never left my city.
You poor thing.
He is very sheltered.
Yes, I like city and life and technology.
Okay, anyways.
For good reason, I'm sure.
But
Being sheltered or never leaving the city?
What do we get if we bring you back this chocobo?
I'm
If
assuming
what
not
was
getting killed.
ours is returned, she would still be a traitor, but we would not actively hunt her. But if she were to return it herself, well, we may forgive her.
I can tell you right now, I don't think my mom has it anymore.
That is unfortunate for her. And unfortunate for you.
And why is it?
She looks to you, Rakshana, and then to you, Astaria. And she says,
Kryn was trying to ask something.
Oh, I can hold off.
She was going to be interrupting him anyways.
Okay.
So.
She rude.
She is. And she says, you two, why are you in my forest?
We were here hunting those ugly things that eat chocobos because they attacked 2 of our chocobos.
They attack actually many of my father's chocobos. We have a farm just outside the forest, and well, also, I guess, because she called me here.
Tilt her head for a moment. Says, interesting. You say your father has a farm just on the outskirts of the forest.
Yes.
What kind of farm?
A chocobo farm?
See. Clever girl. Well, seems the treasure we seek will be forever beyond our grasp.
Oh, because you won't leave the forest, huh?
Why should we? Those who leave the forest are incapable of hearing its call.
We heard it then.
Yeah, Star's just tilting her head like, what?
I do not know. Truth be told, it is surprising. But either way, it is of little
We knew
consequence.
chocobo eaters were in here, in this forest, and when we heard the call from the forest, we thought it wanted us to chase them down, but then it was still calling us to go deeper. So, That's why we're here. We
She,
brought our friends with us to aid us. They're outside the village right now.
she closes her eyes for a moment and sort of her head looks sort of turns to kind of stare off into the distance for a moment, and you can hear the wind in the forest beginning to pick up for just a moment. And for Kryn and Astaria, you can hear that cacophony of voices once more enter your head before a moment later it all stops and the wind dies down. And she says, "How very confusing." She looks to you, Kryn, and she says, "From what the forest says, you possess our treasure already."
What forest?
Thanks a lot, Forest.
Tattled on us.
Yeah.
"Give it to me, and I will spare you."
Toss my backpack to her.
Okay. She snatches it out of the air and she doesn't rip it open, but she very quickly pulls it open and begins just pulling everything out and just throwing it to the side, not even caring about whether it's glass.
You were
or
really
not.
hoping she was just gonna take it and accept it, weren't you?
Oh no, I knew she was gonna look, and that's
Oh.
everything I own that is left.
Mm-hmm. And she looks through it before taking the bag and throwing it to the side and saying, "Where is the egg?"
I don't have an egg. I've never had an egg.
Eyes narrow. The forest does not lie.
I'm not saying it's lying,
Then where
but
is
I
it?
don't have an egg.
Then where is it?
There is no egg left. You're talking about something that happened to my mother probably over 20 years ago, which means the egg would have hatched.
Then where's the chocobo?
The only chocobo we have are the two that are outside the village with the rest of the party. We have a red chocobo and a blue chocobo.
She turns her head back to the two that were sitting next to each of her sides, and Inviera tells them to go and seize the chocobos.
Yeah, I'm not going to allow that to happen.
Yeah.
Well,
They're
what
not the
happened?
chocobo you're looking for. Seizing of chocobo.
Please don't take Moon and Merrick.
Turns back to you. Then
Chocobo.
where's my treasure then?
I have no idea what you are talking about with treasure.
Carol, just step
I
forward.
showed you
Here.
everything I have.
Her eyes go to you, Star.
I'm right here.
Tilt her head. What do you mean?
It's a long story.
Oh, to make it short, Gold Chocobo in times of crisis can change their form. She just doesn't know how to change back.
Her eyes sort of dart to you, Kryn, as you say that, before darting back to Star. And the two that had initially begun to stand up are sort of paused and waiting to see before they're both told to go and get the scribes.
Now, like I said before, what do you intend to do with a creature with its own free will?
She looks between all of you, folds her arms for a moment, says, "We will wait for the scribes to get here. Then we will decide."
Star will just like flop down on her butt and cross her legs, like, okay.
Alright. So you wait about 5 minutes before 3 more individuals are brought to the small area. Each of them
Can't believe your
dressed
mom kidnapped
in
my egg.
these white and like gold trimmed robes. One of them holding what looks like a pretty thick tome. Another one holding, it's like sort of clutching a cluster of scrolls, of probably about 20 or so scrolls. The third one, his hands just kind of folded into his sleeve, or into his sleeves. As they come forward and speak to the female Vera, the leader, it seems, essentially just asking which one or where the chocobo, air quotes, is. And when they come over to you, Star, the one that had his hands folded, he comes over to you and like begins looking you over and like grabbing at your arm to try and lift it up and like inspect you.
No, she'll comply.
And they just begin like one of them, the one that had the tome, has opened up the tome, and you can see it's not a tome so much as it is just an enormous notepad. You can see as he moves the pages to get to a new fresh one, there are just notes upon notes upon notes, just like in all different angles, and some going over other notes. Very strange. But as they begin sort of writing down measurements and how the skin texture feels, how the eyes seem to move, seeming to make detail of every little thing. The entire process.
If they get too close to the robe, she'll have all the eyes shut. Yeah, no, the ones up here don't work. Those are their own thing. Those aren't mine.
Interesting. Make a note of that. They do make a note of that. In fact, sort of looking over towards the notebook, you can see he's almost writing down verbatim what he's saying. And the entire process takes about 15 minutes before they finish. You do notice the one that had all the scrolls has, like, in that time begun unfolding some of them and reading through them. Once all the notes are finished, the 3 scribes convene once more and begin sort of hushedly talking amongst themselves for a little bit before the one that wasn't carrying anything steps forward and says, well, by all accounts, from a physical standpoint, you are not a chocobo.
God, yeah, I know that. I've known that for a while now.
However, your etherical signatures are fascinating. They are unlike anything I've ever seen. And the leader says, so, what is the verdict? Is she or is she not the treasure? And he says, or she says, well, that's the thing. I'm not sure. Because physically she looks like not a chocobo. But your etherical signatures are so much different than anything else we've ever seen before. I am fascinated.
I have a fan. Oh my god.
Do you mind coming with me for just a few hours? I promise that I will make them painless and as unintrusive as I can, but I would love to study your etherical signatures if you would let me.
Get handsy, I'll take the hand.
Also, I want to crack a deal. I want my other friends to come in. They're waiting out there for us. I trust them deeply.
Well, I mean, I don't. And she looks over to the other one and she says, as long as she's able to do her experiments and your friends do not try anything, we have a deal.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. And I will just say for everyone, sorry. I will just say for everyone else, Delger's just been feeding this at the other rest of the party.
Well, doesn't it's out loud? I believe
Yeah.
it was said.
Yep.
Not fair, but I just figured I'd at least try to do it because maybe he's at least trying to do. He's trying to be useful.
Right. Well, admittedly, because she is some distance away, sometimes it might not necessarily be clear what she said. So, with your passive perception, you are able to fill in some of the gaps, actually. So, so there is that. Additionally, with how softly the scientist was speaking, not easy to hear her. So, but so the party is allowed in. They're shortly escorted in, and you, Star, are led to effectively a pretty similar looking layout to the lab in underneath Quinn's Forest, in that it has multiple operating tables, it seems. This room might be for something like if they were to have a lot of injuries suddenly or a lot of people sick, having multiple beds, multiple tables to work with. But as you are led in,
I will say Delger will insist on following. He's not stopping any of this from happening, but he's following as long as he's allowed.
That's fine. But she leads you into and has you sit on one of the tables.
Don't you have to make it to us to do that, hun?
That's fair, but he did say we were allowed in. So
Yeah.
They would have been escorted in. And this isn't something that they're like, no, you can't be here.
Yeah.
Because there was the deal of as long as she's allowed to do her experiments.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but she says, so for some of them, I will need you to strip. If you prefer, she looks to the rest of the party, we can have this in a more private setting.
A little more private would be nice.
She nods, and as she waves her hands, you watch as an ethereal apron forms around the table and her to sort of encapsulate both of you.
Curtain? You mean a curtain?
Yeah, essentially.
You said apron.
Magic. Apron, curtain, same thing.
Apron goes on a person, my guy.
Yeah, I was about to say what?
Close enough. I'm sorry. Yes, a curtain, an ethereal curtain. Sorry. But yes, so over the course of the next 3 hours, there are no intrusive experiments done in that she does not attempt to have you take anything, or she does not attempt to extract anything from you. A lot of them seem to be testing what you are physically capable of, such as how much pressure it takes to cause indentations in your skin, and other seemingly rather menial experiments that she seems to collect quite an extensive amount of data on. A lot of the data, even as you watch her write it down, you have no idea what the...
No, there's no watching. She doesn't have her eye robe. They're just listening.
That's true. And you do hear her making a lot of mutterings and just like talking about how fascinating this all is to her, and how, and all of you can hear her as well. She's not exactly being super quiet with her mutterings. It's mostly her just kind of talking to herself. But she makes remarks about how your etherical readings are significantly more stable than what she has observed in other Viera. Of course, all creatures, their aether is in a balance and it is stable, but it always has like subtle fluctuations every now and then, whereas yours seems to be almost in perfect harmony and with zero fluctuations at all from what she can tell. She makes comments about how whenever there is physical pressure or potential damage to the body that could be incoming, the aether around you seems to shift towards that area, although there does not seem to be any actual effect that she can observe. But it seems like almost like the aether is drawn to potential wounds.
I guess she would ask then if that would apply to her larger.
To her what?
The larger scar from shoulder to hip.
Sort of looks it over a little bit more, and you watch as she sort of like moves her head around you as her hands stay in position, almost like with how much time is going by, it very much seems like the goggles that she's using turn you more into a silhouette rather than her being able to actually see your physical form and all of the intricate details and whatnot. And as she moves around to sort of push at various parts near and on the scar, you can tell she's like watching for the fluctuations in the aether around you. And she says, it very well could have, judging from the way the scar seems to have healed and the way the aether fluctuates around it. It seems like there was an exceedingly large influx of aether from an outside source. Although it's hard to tell whether or not you did it or if something else did it. Seems like the wound has been here for too long for me to be able to make that out. But whatever healed this scar, it was an extremely powerful effect. Oh, wow. And as she continues, now that she's sort of made that insight discovery, you do watch as, though she does grab a knife, she does not use the bladed end. She puts the flat part against your skin to sort of simulates or to try and trick your body into think it's actually being attacked by a bladed object, like what appears to be on the scar. And as she does so, she makes a note of how the aether around you seems to react more violently. Or not really more violently, but it seems to react more aggressively. Not unlike as if it were almost like it was afraid of the blade itself rather than the potential that the potential wound in this particular case. Whereas before, when she was doing it with like her thumb and just kind of pressing in and making it seem like there was some kind of potential damage, the aether around you seemed to stay in balance but seemed to fluctuate more towards that spot, whereas with the blade, the mere presence of it seems to cause your aether to become very nervous and very agitated. Almost like it's preparing for something large or something very prominent to happen. And all in all, she fills out about in this tome that she brought. She fills out probably about 43 pages worth of notes. Most of them menial and probably pointless, but she seems to think they're important. But by the end of it, a couple hours later, the curtain is once more pulled back. And once you're dressed, of course. And she said, and picking up the book and sort of holding it close, she says, "All right, well, I have all of the notes that I need, and she's still physically not a chocobo. I don't know why, but
well, they say in myths that a great distress can cause a chocobo to change shape to look like a whole different race. And there was such a distressing time for me.
Well, I have a lot of notes to look over, so
Just go. You can go.
let's get you back to our leader and have her decide what to do, and then I need to go and do a lot of studying. And you can see she's like bouncing up and down, and has like this huge grin on her face. She is extremely excited.
I highly suggest you look into the myths as well.
Right. All right. Let's go.
Right.
And she leads you.
She's like a kid on Christmas.
She is. She leads you back to the chiefess, who stands up as they come back. She says, "So, I don't know if this is the treasure yet, but I have a lot of notes here in this book, and me and the other scholars are going to get to work on studying this, and hopefully soon we'll have an answer for you. Okay, bye." And hurriedly scurries off. The chiefess then looks at all of you and says, "Well, you all did keep to your word. So for the time being, until we know, you may roam the village, but do not attempt to leave it."
Yeah.
All right.
Nope, no problem.
That's agreeable.
She sits back down.
Okay, let's go wander.
Alright, let's do the tourist gig.
Go over, grab my bag, and put my stuff back in it, and
Probably would have done that, like, since this took several hours.
Yeah.
yeah, but
I
we
was
were
gonna
all over
add-
there keeping an eye on the door
Oh.
for her, and I still had my gun, so I was good with that.
Fair enough. And then it is just kind of laying there. She does not care about it. No one else seems to either. So you do easily collect up all your stuff.
What were you going to say, Mara?
No, it was solved by that
Okay.
answer, so I'm good.
Okay, good. Just making sure.
We found her plot armor. Oh, I just saw that. Bless you.
I'm glad it's there. Oh no, the tab shut. Oh my god.
We both are.
But so as we start to wonder, Stir just like lets out a big like sigh of fracking relief.
Yes.
I really didn't want to have to, but it was like we either let her take our bird, my baby bird, or I
Yeah.
just tell her I'm a bird.
I was about to tell her I was a bird.
Oh, you get a hug for that.
I was gonna say, think about it. I'm the only thing from my mother. I don't remember being born. I could have come from an egg.
I am your bird.
I'm
Oh, that
probably
is super
your
interesting.
chocobo since I was with my mother.
I mean, does anybody remember being born, though? That's
No,
that's
and that would have
very
been perfect.
odd.
Don't be like that. Shush, sit in the corner.
Make me.
I will.
Okay, alright.
You can certainly try.
Delger just walks up behind Star.
I want to try some local food if there's some stalls, and
I
Awen
would
just
love that.
kind of
No,
holds her belly. She's
me
like,
too.
I have not eaten.
That sounds really good.
Oh, this whole place makes me homesick.
What was your home like?
Came from
Rocks?
a village.
Yes, back on, I believe the continent is Othard, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Where that forest is. Yes, back on Othard.
Oh,
Lived. It was a lot colder there. My village is on. Well, partway on a mountain, partway not. Sort of centered at the base of a mountain. Snow. Crocs. Did I ever mention I hate Crocs?
might have
cre-
mentioned it once or twice.
I might have now and then.
The animal or the footwear? Because either way,
That's what I was
agree.
about to ask.
I knew
Okay,
it was
so-
an animal because they don't have crap.
I was about to say, yeah, in character there, or out of character, there are no Croc footwear in,
It's working. Not the game.
Yes.
Eorzea.
Why haven't they made Crocs in 14? I want Crocs in 14.
No.
Suggested.
No, just
I
stop.
want
Wait, no, there might be.
Stop. Just
They're
stop.
just
I
called
don't.
fur boots.
Go
They
Anyway.
are. Oh
Those
no.
Are you sure that's not Uggs? Because Crocs
Wait,
are
yeah,
those
no, you're
plastic.
right. Those stupid plastic things. I mixed up the
What the
two.
hell
I
is
hate
them?
them both.
No, I just
What
looked
are
up these
those?
things. Fuck these things.
So,
mean,
walk up
it's-
to somebody and just fucking scream.
What are those? Nico, Nico, nee.
so
Roxana, it actually sounds a bit like my own poem was like. These best thing that sort of held my head. I also grew up in this place sort of built into a mountain.
Let's find something to munch.
Agreed.
And you can tell us lots about your home.
Of course.
easy enough to find a local diner to enter. They are a little leery of the party, but they do not try to deny you service or anything. Additionally, all the
That's nice.
prices are listed on their menu. So,
Dogger's just sort of awkwardly staring down at anyone who just sort of gives them odd looks. He's just sort of returning the favor.
Delger, if you are
I'm not-
probably one of the first outsiders that has been in this village in a very long time. We are all a very strange sight.
True. I just like showing them how it feels.
I understand, but they may not understand that staring is rude.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
the even my village is not exactly open-armedly welcoming outsiders. Like I said earlier, the only reason my mentor was allowed in was because she saved me. We're just lucky this isn't a Rava village, or we might have been shot.
That sounds scary.
Yeah, the Rava are definitely more scary than Vina, but
I'll keep this in mind.
not terribly by much. Luckily, they live in the jungles rather than forests, so it's probably why they're a little more
Xenophobic?
perhaps, yeah. I was
Why are
going to
they
say,
why are they like that, I wonder?
would I know that? Is that something I would know?
Say again?
Why?
Why the Viera is so xenophobic?
Well, okay, I thought
they're-
he meant...
They're protectors of the wood, and they view outsiders, essentially anyone not of the wood, as essentially enemies. Because they are considered protectors of the wood, any creature that enters the wood is a danger to the wood if it is not innately a part of it.
Okay, well that I knew.
Yeah,
and
that's why
I'm
they're so
sure...
xenophobic. That's why they're so xenophobic. It's because they're protectors of the wood.
Yeah.
That pretty much
It's also
answers my
why they
question.
never leave the wood. Well, that and the fact that when a Vera leaves the wood, they typically lose the ability to hear it speak. Which is why Fran couldn't. Or at least why she had difficulty doing it.
So, what is this food like?
Yeah.
Mostly vegan. A lot of plants and a lot of fruits. A lot of vegetables. Not a lot of meat.
Star fucking loves it.
You do notice on some of them that come with like a sauce, there's this it's somewhat viscous, almost like a slightly thicker gravy, and it has this like purplish tinge to it.
It's that stuff again.
Looks like you guys ate it anyway.
Star stops, like, mouth completely fucking full and like,
The purple stuff is the same as those nuts we found.
Is the food at least good?
Yeah,
Mm.
it's really tasty.
Star nuts.
To eat 3 helpings to not die.
Star is going to actually protect her plate from you this time and not offer you it. Because she's enjoying herself.
Yeah, if they have Rox's favorite dish, she's gonna order that.
More than likely.
Yeah, I imagine
Star?
Vina villages. Something similar, at least.
Star will stop, like, whoever is taking their orders and ask about the sauce, specifically, like, if this is made of the strange nuts that grow outside, and she'll, like, pull one from her bag.
They nod.
What is
Very
that stuff
good.
anyway?
Yeah, what is this?
Oh, that? We aren't entirely sure how it grows. The mixture inside of it is very... It's a lot of restorative properties we found when ingested it. When ingested in bulk, anyways, it helps to feed you and nourish you as if you've had a complete meal. But when portioned out in correct amounts, it can have some very interesting side effects. Nothing bad, of course. I
Interesting.
promise.
Like what?
Well, some of our patrons have expressed the feeling of flying or feeling weightless. And feeling
Oh, they get us
just
high.
enjoying.
Well, we can break into those later.
I mean, Stars just shoved her face, so we'll see.
Next, we'll bring extra sauce.
Interesting. What are they called?
One sec.
The DM has to pull a name out of his hat.
Actually, one of my roommates was talking to me. So, but
Oh, you mean?
they tell you that they call it a puntutu. Typed it in Discord.
Thank you. Even I had no idea how to do that one.
Edwin's just gonna kind of ask, like, is there some kind of a basic sauce that you can? Is there some kind of basic thing that you can make with regularly found ingredients that you can do with this? I'm a little bit of a cook myself.
Oh, thank you.
Roxy here's a great cook as well.
Well, I'm
I
sure
try.
there are plenty of ways you would be able to cook this, and plenty of ingredients you'd be able to cook it with. I am not a chef myself, though, so.
Could we ask one of the chefs?
If they're free, I could ask them if they're willing to come out, but
Please.
Tell them no rush. We don't want to.
Not like we have anywhere
it's
to
not
go.
an urgent thing.
Of course, I offer no guarantees that they will.
Yeah.
Of course, but
Understandable.
I will go ask. And she heads off.
So, I can take this stuff back to my lab, and we can extract the essences out of it, and concentrate it, and sell it.
Oh my god.
Oh no, Kryn.
No,
Kryn, we
we're
can't
not
do that.
doing something like that.
Oh,
If you start doing that, you will end up starting a war between outsiders and the Viera, and that would not
Because
be
we're
a
stealing
wise
something
decision.
again.
it's growing wild.
In a forest they protect.
It's bad
This
enough.
is why we can't have nice things. I'm sorry, I had to.
It's bad enough that they already have a bit of a rivalry with the Elizon for the position of protectors of the forest. It's not openly hostile, but it's not without its frictions. I
Oh,
would
yeah.
really rather you not try to do something that could potentially start a war.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good.
No, it
Especially,
wouldn't.
especially since, as you've seen, the Viera are quite capable of not being seen.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try not to cause trouble, but they continue being idiots, and I can't make promises.
You're
You
not
say
stealing from them again.
you say
I've
idiots.
never stolen from them.
You say idiots because you do not understand the custom. You weren't raised here. They have their reasons, and their reasons are well thought out. Now, as for their actions regarding Astaria, I can't speak to that. But protecting the forest is a noble goal.
True.
Especially with people like Garlemald, who don't seem to respect it all that much.
It wouldn't hurt to have somebody come in here and clean up once in a while. It's got a lot of dirt everywhere.
It's
It's-
almost like it's a forest.
It's a forest. If you... How did you?
Do you want to be smacked in the head?
Dogger started cracking his knuckles.
Not really.
Guys.
I'm good.
Rox looks to Kryn. How did you live in Ul'dah? There is more sand there than dirt being kicked up off of the ground. Sand is far more irritating.
Of course, and rough it gets everywhere.
I was trying to avoid that one.
I was just thinking that. I was like, Crin's probably gonna say.
Yeah, we kind of do that a lot in our other Sunday game.
Yeah.
Oh,
All of I hate
Especially
sand.
since we were just in a desert biome.
oh,
Yep.
Nice.
It was all sand. All of it. Even the buildings were made of sand.
And
Sandstone.
who lived there? Cats.
Cats.
And birds. And dogs.
Cats, birds, and jackals. Yeah. Anyway. Sorry.
Oh my.
Not true. Back to D&D.
God damn you guys, you are awesome.
So, anything anybody wants to know specifically?
Are there customs I'm supposed to know because I know none of them?
Well, the reality of the situation is, as an outsider, you're not generally supposed to even be allowed in. So,
Just
fine
try
with
not to
Kiki.
actively be an asshole.
yes,
I
just,
never have that issue. You do.
I've
No,
never seen
I'm just saying in general, but
Mm.
I've never seen Aidwin act in a way that I would consider to be an asshole. Now, that's from my limited experience, but,
Fair.
you know, and that is... Yes, don't be an asshole.
It's a good rule.
We can even abbreviate it to DDAA.
Oh no.
Deba.
DDAA.
bah.
You could change it to DABAA and call it DABA.
No,
Don't always be an asshole.
no,
No.
I refuse.
Line
Damn.
crossed.
Deb.
Also, I would highly suggest against damaging any wildlife other than invasive species like those chocobo eaters. Kill them.
Were the birds allowed in, or did you tell them to go home? Star will look at Delger.
They were allowed in.
Okay.
If you wanted them to be in. You could have told them to go home. It's up to you. But they would have been allowed in.
Yep. As long as they weren't being taken, like Dogger was just gonna let them come in.
I'm good with that.
Well, your dinner is had. The particular place that you have found to eat is not an inn, however, so you will have to go and look for one of those instead. If you wish to sleep.
I mean,
Or just try to sleep on the ground. It's up to you.
do they have an inn?
They do, surprisingly. Well, it's less a quote-unquote inn, and it looks more like a barracks.
I mean, that's fair. They don't.
Yeah.
They probably don't expect tourists.
It's
Yeah.
full of the hanging, what you call it? The hanging beds.
Yeah, basically.
The hammocks.
Yeah.
The hammocks.
Hammocks, yeah. I mean, essentially, yeah, that's all they really are, just a bunch of hammocks. You do notice several of them are already taken. There does not appear to be like a receptionist or anything. There's not none of these beds seem to have any indication of ownership either. Even kind of just looking around and spending a moment, it seems like people that walk in just kind of pick a bed and fall asleep.
Well, seems good as anything.
I mean, it's at least better than sleeping on the ground with no cover over your head.
Yeah.
You never really say that.
I didn't think their decision would take this long, but
Well, it's not like they have Quinn's lab report.
true. So if they did,
Would they even believe it? Likely not.
you know, I have trouble thinking that they would even want to be in there, much less our Gnarler letting them in.
No.
Yeah, no, we're not bringing anyone there ever again. You almost declared war on the seats here.
Yeah.
I
don't want to bring anybody there, but it's not. But I don't think that it's without. I don't think ruling out the place as somewhere to go is wise. I think keeping it open is not a horrible idea.
If you're going to do that, you have to tell him. We're not
Oh no, I'm
in
just
there
saying
and
that we
having
don't.
people
If we
hurt
don't want
again.
to bring, I'm not saying we bring people in. I'm just saying that we don't. That we don't. It's not that we never go there again. We keep it so that we can go there if we need something. Because it seems like, as I know he's sketchy, but it
Really
doesn't
sketchy.
seem like he doesn't seem like he's all bad. Maybe it's some kind of family thing or whatever, but there's something that I can't shake off about him. I just think that he might become useful at some point.
I mean, at one point or another, all people have their utility.
I'm just saying that that we don't rule out the possibility of that we don't not
I
ever
just
go
don't
there
want to
again.
bring anyone with us. I'm happy to go back.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, no. Okay. We're on the same page then.
I don't think they would leave the wood anyway, as they've said.
No. And again, I don't. There's a million reasons why it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm pooped. Let's go to bed.
Sleep sounds great.
Indeed.
Yes.
Each of
And
you.
actually, with that, I do gotta get going.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
hang
I just
in
noticed
there
the time.
hang in there for just a little bit longer, because this is where I was going to stop it. I was letting you all have your RP for the moment there. So, as all of you jump into bed and begin to take your long rest, we will go ahead and go into the 3 questions. And as Rakshana has to leave the most immediately, we'll start with her.
Alright, so what I liked the lots of character interaction RP. There was a lot more of it, and I liked hearing from Kryn.
Me too.
Agreed.
Can't really pick out anything I disliked. Eggplant. Ugh. If I have to pick one, eggplant. Ugh. What I'm looking forward to, more time in this Viera tribe, because Rox is homesick. So, yeah.
Oh boy. Alrighty. Fantastic. Well,
Alright, everyone. I'm gonna go hit the sack.
Alright.
Okay.
Have a good night, everyone.
Take it easy.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Alright, so next up, we will go to... We'll go to Kryn. Hello, Kryn.
God damn it, I was eating ice cream. Okay.
That was earlier.
I'm not this close to the top of the line. I enjoyed it. I had a great time. It was fun. I had a suspicion that was something like this was going to happen when we came into the forest. It wasn't just going to be the monsters. However, I was hoping that we weren't going to hear anything and we can leave, because Finn's not a camper. She'll stop on the side of the road as we're traveling, but she's not the kind that enjoys non-city life.
She's a glamper.
She likes the city. It's got
If
stuff
she
that
was a ranger, the city would be her favorite terrain.
things I didn't like. I thought I almost met my father, and I was about to shoot him.
No.
Welcome to the club, Crane. If that does happen, in a sense, but yeah.
Things I am looking forward to. I'd like to see where it goes. The rest of our time in the village. I fear we might have to fight our way out, but we can hope to talk our way out because we got the princess on our side, and she can sell ice cubes to Eskimos. So
I mean, with that, yeah. Her minimum roll is a 38 with that spell.
yeah,
Thankfully, she can't cast a
Oh,
very-
33, but
Either way, it's like, thankfully you can't cast a whole ton. So.
yeah, it's once a day.
just gotta
oh yeah,
be
but then
careful.
there's still the crit chance if she does roll, so she gets a 20,
Yeah.
and then she's almost to 40. So it's cool either way.
Yeah.
But I think
Then I cut y'all off from that. Took it away.
Yeah,
Which is
I
funny
mean, it
because
makes
I was doing that anyway.
sense.
I was pulling the VR away from everyone else anyway, so it's just funny that it happened.
I did what glibness did what it needed to right
It
then.
did.
So
What are we on now?
Well, with Kryn being finished, we're on you now, since you wanted
Oh,
to speak.
my brain fizzled out. Like, it
It's
went.
okay.
Okay.
Up.
Today was really fun. I really enjoyed getting to hear from Corinne and just hearing about Roxy. I really enjoyed the village, and I'm interested in the fact that we're mixing the two. Be it that it's stated in a lot of lore that males and females don't stay together.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting to me. Also the tension, how you were about to be like, I'm the bird. It's like, you what? I kind of wish that happened, because it would have been fucking hilarious.
you
I
just
will
spoke.
I will
Yeah.
say, they were following you guys for a while.
Oh,
wait,
You
but
just had all
when the true sight have seen him?
No, because she had all the eyes closed.
Oh,
she was going
yeah,
off
because I was
her
following by
hearing.
hearing.
Yeah. She was following just her hearing, so they were like... That's why they hadn't moved away either when she opened her eyes. Because they were like, well, she hasn't noticed us yet. And they didn't know what the fuck the robe was or anything, so...
Fair.
I mean, to be fair, at this point, they still don't realize that you saw them.
No, nothing I really hated. I had a great time. Yeah.
What you looking forward to?
I just looking forward to all of this. All the story every day, every time.
Fantastic. Well, I know one thing that all of you are upset at.
What? Oh, that you didn't take the
Yeah.
fracking
Yeah.
fight.
Yeah. Yeah. We're all upset about that. Even I am.
Yeah, that sucked.
Yeah. But it won't happen again.
That.
Because whenever I have it paused, I'm leaving it always on top. So there's no way for me to not have it on top. Since that's the setting I can do in OBS. So. But yeah. Okay. Next up, we'll save you for last. Yeah, we'll save you for last. I'll go next.
Okay.
I loved everything. I loved it all. I really loved the fact that y'all avoided quite a few encounters with your D100 rolls. Instead, y'all got simple investigative inquiries amongst your travels. So that was fun, honestly. And honestly, I mean, Theos said this. Y'all don't know who Theos is, but Kryn knows who Theos is. And you know, he said last night when I was talking to him that he rather thoroughly enjoyed when I just completely stomped one of his boss monsters. And I'll admit, they were supposed to run away after they lost a combined 25% health. Y'all killed them before they could run away.
I gotta move faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you gonna do? I mean,
Luigi almost got away, and then Fireball, and I forgot that you ignored resistance. So
I forgot I ignored resistance until I pinged that because I was more pinging that for the temp HP gain.
yeah. Also,
but then I was like, wait, oh,
real quick, I'm going to limit that to 100% of your max HP. So no,
that's fine.
No going for your max. Not that it played really any role in what happened, but yeah. What I disliked, I mean, obviously not recording the fight because I'm an idiot. But I will say I hated how long it took for y'all to get to this village, because like ultimately at the end of the journey y'all were gonna maybe arrive at this village. Now I think about it, y'all could have been, y'all might not have, y'all might have gotten somewhere else, I don't know. But hang on.
My brain did the.
Hopefully you'll reset.
Sorry, roommate. She needs me to go grab something. I'll do that in a moment. But I'll worry about that in a moment. But what I am looking forward to is seeing what y'all do with this village. Seeing what like, I'm really curious about what y'all do with this village. It's gonna be really fun to see. Because there are some things that, one thing that Star realized mid-session, which played a role, which played a factor in why y'all were brought into the village, as well as the persuasion check, and among other factors. Yeah, so I'll be right back, but in the meantime, we'll go to Aidwin, and then after Aidwin, it'll be Delegate.
Okay. Oh wait, should I go now or should I wait till you get back?
He's recording.
Oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah. Liked. The fight was really fun. Definitely going to get a lot of. It was definitely going to get a lot of use out of the ignoring fire resistance because of that, you know, new ability I got from Ifrit. Can't say I disliked anything. There wasn't a whole lot else. I mean,
I'll tell you right now that ignore fire resistance is really going to help out next time we come across La Habrea.
yeah, that's true. Well, I hope we don't have to come across them again.
We're gonna come across them again.
Hopefully the Warrior Light just fucking kills them.
We're the only competent ones in this entire setting. We're gonna come across them again.
Apparently. which is weird. But anyway,
Now you can make it real quick. Just no fire resistance. Boom, you're done.
yeah, no, that was yeah. To reiterate, yeah, liked the fight was really fun. The ignoring fire resistance I got from Ifrit's gonna be very, very useful. Didn't really dislike anything. Looking forward to yeah, just kind of just hanging out with the Vieira. Hot bunny girls are hot.
Yeah.
You know.
And who knows what other kind of buildings might be here.
Adwin did want to kind of like be like, oh my god, there's male Vieira? Holy crap! It's like nobody ever sees those. But then the Link Pearl was on, so she couldn't really like sing a whole lot.
Well, you saw him when before he took
Yeah.
him away. So, and admittedly,
I guess the timing wasn't really right then.
But admittedly, like comparison to the female Vieiras, still pretty hot.
Well, twink boys.
Twink boys.
China. Very muscular though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we go on to Delger next.
So I couldn't get over the reveal trailer that somebody really gave up on that animation because their feet were sliding in that first shot. And I couldn't stop staring at it, and nobody else in the FC thought it was funny when I pointed it out. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, like a multi-billion-dollar company just that.
They're a small indie company, guys.
They worked hard to get us that preview, so I didn't blame them, but it was funny because the shit I see now being an animator.
Just like Disney, the very small, very unheard of indie company that released the extremely poorly selling movie Frozen, and how Elsa's hair clipped through her fucking arms. Yeah. You gotta forgive mistakes like that from those indie companies,
You don't understand. They worked so hard. You can't criticize them.
Moving on.
Just like small indie company Nintendo not listening to any fucking things from their goddamn. Anyway.
Anyways, Delger, hello. Your 3 questions.
There you are. I was wondering. Yep. I really enjoyed the banter this session.
It was some pretty premium banter.
Mm-hmm.
It was good.
I'm looking forward to just figuring out what other interesting stuff we'll find in this village. And yeah, I'm annoyed the file isn't recorded. For that bait, you're going to find one grade of standing in your room every night until you're overtaken by the desert.
No!
That's fair enough.
You steal that from the Tumblr video.
Thankfully, my room...
Yes, I did.
Thankfully, my quote-unquote room right now is the living room, and the living room is openly connected to the kitchen as well as several hallways. So it's going to take a while for that to happen.
The whole house will be filled with sand.
Yes.
Great.
You'll be out to one stand there until everyone is overtaken by the desert.
Fantastic. It's going to take a while.
It'll all start in your bed, though.
Probably.
And your socks.
Yeah.
And shoes.
Oh, that's just evil.
And it's going to be very coarse. And just everywhere.
Yeah.
I swear to God, the best curse I ever thought of that wasn't, well, at least that wasn't something that would kill or maim you. Just the constant permanent feeling of just wet socks, even if you aren't wearing anything.
It's the worst.
It's like swamp feet.
Exactly.
Might as well just chop your feet off at that point.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god.
Anyways, 3 questions, go.
I did. I said them all.
Oh, my brain is so tired.
It's okay.
There.
Hi, how are you?
Most of it was recorded.
know.
So, admittedly, that fight must have actually taken the majority, like at least almost half of the session, because I've only got 2
It was
hours
fun.
So.
It was really fun.
Yeah, it was really great. Alas, the next one will not be as fun, I'm sure.
Well, I'll tell you right now, it's taken more. That fight took more rounds than any of our other fights.
Well, that one was also significantly faster because there were just so many less things happening.
That one didn't take that much more than any other ones.
Yeah, because I went through 8 bullets. I don't normally go through 8 bullets.
Yeah. But rounds were happening a lot faster because there was only 2 of them, and all they could really do was claw you and try to grab you.
I also felt I sped up my time being that I already had all my cards pulled, which I think helped honestly improve the time I took to think about what I was doing.
Yep, I really think you made a real improvement with all that. You did really well this fight.
Thank you.
I feel good, though I fucked up and I could have been attacking while giving you guys cards.
Yeah, it's okay though.
Yeah, it's fine.
Also remember
That's
that whenever you
all
cast a
optimization
healing
stuff.
spell, if you activate Fortune's healing with it as well, every time it heals, or when it heals, you get to do the card. You can do a draw. Well, a quote-unquote draw that doesn't consume an actual draw.
Oh, yeah.
You just can't hold that draw. You must apply it. That's the only difference with that one. Because that's not taking up any of your resources.
Also, we need to talk about this drawing and redrawing because I do not want to use action economy when I'm not in a fight.
Well, I'm gonna